203 renovation mortgages. What are they? How can it help us purchase a home on this week's Tuesday's Tips?
Right. So week one, contracts accepted. We get the application package in from the client. So what that means is when you're doing a mortgage, you got to get a bunch of state and federal disclosures. In order for the lender to be able to work on your file, you got to sign those. You got to acknowledge those. You're also scheduling as a homeowner your any of your inspections, your home inspection, your termite, well and septic if it's on private water or if it's on private sewer. If we're doing a larger 203K, so anything above 35,000, then that client's going to meet with a HUD consultant or their renovation consultant.
Okay.
And during that time period, we're going to hop to week two. Well, I'm going to stay within, so in between week one and week two, the client's going to get us any missing loose end paperwork. What else do they still owe us? They're getting that. In our, if I could speak, maybe you'll keep that in there. My hashtag awkward.
It's okay. We're being real here. We're real.
For us, we have two designated processors that work on the loan. A processor in mortgage speak is the person that they're really doing a lot of the heavy lifting. They're chasing documents. So we have the front end person. Their main job is to get that file in as quickly as possible. But what happens sometimes with the 203K is that we, as you can see me circling here, we have this point of limbo where we don't get the contractor estimate. And then we're at that standstill because we cannot order their appraisal.
Okay.
They go in for their mortgage approval, and the file is sent to underwriting once we have the bid and the appraisals been ordered. In between here, as you can see, in between week two and week three, we're getting our conditional approval. Now, the conditional approval says, hey, you're approved. There may be some additional documents that we need from you. Like, for instance, we need to get your appraisal back. We got to make certain that it's going to match with the bid and what the final value is going to be. We have our back end processor. That's what we call our loan coordinator. So their job is, all right, you take the ball now. You're going to take that ball and you're going to get that ball to closing. So let's say we're on this 42-day time track. So I'm going to bring this down. Now, week four, now we're working on your final approval. The appraisal's in, buttoning up any final items that are needed from you. And we go in and we get you ready to close, which is what happens in week 5 and in week 6. So that's how we can get to a 42-day closing. But as you can see, this is where we get hung up a lot on renovation financing. Is in between weeks 2 and weeks 3. Is that we don't have the estimate. So it's really critical is stressing the importance of, so say for instance, it's you, Jeremy, out there with your client of, hey, we got to get running right away. And we've got to get the appraiser out. But in order to get the appraiser out, we need to get the estimate for the needed repairs.
Sure. So week 2 is pretty much a do or die week right there. Get it done or we're not moving forward at all.
Yeah. And you know, you and I have a real life thing going on right now with a 203K client we're waiting, but we also had things that don't always happen. Actually, it's my second death recently where a seller has died. So
really? Oh,
yes. Wow. Yeah.
And then, you know, as far as the bids go as well, you know, septics can take a while because it's not just, oh, hire a contractor and they'll just bid it out. No, they generally have to put a little bit of money up front as the buyer, and to hire a contractor or an engineer, they have to do a soil sample with either the Department of Health or DEM, depending on the state that you're in, or Board of Health. And then they have to go back to the engineers. The engineers do the septic design. So right there, that can make week 2 turn into week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on how backed up all these contractors in the state is at the time.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. So I I think it's one that if proper expectations are set up and it's communicated to the other agent of, hey, we may run into certain delays because of those things that are out of our control. When they're executed perfectly and there's no delays and it's a simple contractor, like, needs to do a bathroom, needs to do a kitchen, and doesn't need to get DEM or other type of approvals, then yes, 42 days can happen. Where this can help your clients is if you have a client that every time you look at a house, there's always one little thing wrong with it. Or if the 2-bedroom was really a 3-bedroom, you can do an addition. You can, say it's an old school cape where the, what do you call it? The attic area of the cape, that's really not an attic area. It hasn't been finished yet. What about finishing that out, putting some dormers on it? So
Sure.
These are where this product can really help with the low inventory for clients.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I just had a client put a dormer on their cape. The upstairs never been finished, so they put a dormer on, put 2 bathrooms in there. 2 bedrooms with a bathroom straight ahead as you go up the stairs, which is pretty common, and came out beautiful, and it gave them a lot more space for his growing family.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But I'm sure it would have been nicer if when he purchased it, he could have worked it into the financing as opposed to having to save up the cash to do all that himself.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things about this product is that you're able to keep more of it in your pocket and, utilize the financing for it.
All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Tuesday's Tips. I'm Jeremy Bailey, your Flying Realtor. Remember to keep your wings level, and I gotta fly.